Learn English through story. The Weaver's Promise. In a remote village nestled in the hills, there lived a weaver named Annika. Annika was renowned for her exquisite tapestries, which adorned the homes of the wealthy and powerful. Her work was so detailed and vibrant that it seemed to bring the stories woven into the fabric to life. Despite her success, Annika remained humble and lived a simple life, content with her craft and the joy it brought to others. One day, as Annika was returning from the market, she came across an old woman sitting by the side of the road. The woman was frail and shivering, her clothes tattered and her eyes filled with a sadness that spoke of a life of hardship. Without hesitation, Annika knelt beside the woman and wrapped her own shawl around her shoulders. "Thank you, kind soul," the old woman said, her voice trembling. "I have nothing to give in return, but I can offer you a blessing. May your hands never tire, and may your heart always be full of warmth and kindness." Annika smiled and helped the woman to her feet. "You owe me nothing, grandmother," she said softly. "Go in peace, and may you find warmth and comfort on your journey." The old woman nodded and, with surprising strength, continued down the road. Annika watched her until she disappeared into the distance, then returned to her home. That night, as she worked on a new tapestry, she couldn't stop thinking about the old woman. She felt a deep sense of compassion, a longing to do more for those in need. As the weeks passed, Annika found herself increasingly distracted by these thoughts. Her tapestries, though still beautiful, lacked the life and vibrancy they once had. She realized that her heart was no longer fully in her work. The joy she once felt in weaving had faded, replaced by a growing awareness of the suffering around her. One evening, as she was finishing a particularly difficult piece, there was a knock at her door. When she opened it, she was surprised to see a young man standing there, holding a bundle of old, worn-out clothes. "Are you the weaver Annika?" the young man asked, his voice filled with hope. "I am," Annika replied. "How can I help you?" The young man hesitated, then unwrapped the bundle to reveal a torn and faded tapestry. "This belonged to my grandmother," he explained. "She passed away recently, and this is all I have left of her. It was once a beautiful tapestry, but it has been damaged over the years. I was told you might be able to restore it." Annika took the tapestry in her hands, examining the intricate patterns and the vibrant colors that had once adorned it. She could see that it had been made with great care and skill, and she felt a deep connection to the weaver who had created it. "I will do my best," Annika said, nodding. "But this will take time. It is not just the fabric that needs repair, but the spirit of the piece as well." The young man thanked her and left, leaving Annika alone with the tapestry. She laid it out on her workbench and began to study it more closely. As she worked, she felt a strange sense of familiarity with the patterns and colors, as if she had seen them before. She realized that the tapestry told a story of love, loss, and resilience. Annika spent many nights working on the tapestry, carefully restoring each thread and bringing the faded colors back to life. As she worked, she found herself thinking more and more about the old woman she had met on the road. She wondered if the woman had lived a life of hardship, like the grandmother in the tapestry. She wondered if the blessing the woman had given her was the reason she felt so compelled to help others. When the tapestry was finally restored, Annika stepped back to admire her work. The colors were vibrant once again, and the story woven into the fabric was clear and powerful. She felt a sense of fulfillment that she had not felt in a long time. But it was more than just the satisfaction of a job well done. It was the knowledge that she had helped preserve a piece of someone's life, a piece of someone's story. The next day, the young man returned to collect the tapestry. When he saw it, his eyes filled with tears. "This is exactly how I remember it," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "You have brought my grandmother's memory back to life." "Thank you." Annika smiled, but there was a sadness in her eyes. "Your grandmother's story is woven into this tapestry," she said softly. "But there are so many others whose stories are fading, whose lives are being forgotten. I cannot restore them all." The young man looked at her with understanding. "But you have restored one," he said, "and that is enough. Each life you touch, each story you help preserve, is a gift. You may not be able to save them all, but the ones you do save will be remembered forever." Annika nodded, her heart heavy with the truth of his words. She realized that she had been so focused on the suffering around her that she had forgotten the impact she could have on a smaller scale. She could not change the world, but she could make a difference in the lives of those she encountered. As the young man left, Annika sat down at her loom and began to weave once more. But this time, her work was different. She no longer sought to create tapestries that would adorn the homes of the wealthy. Instead, she began to weave stories of the people she met, of their struggles and triumphs, their joys and sorrows. She wove with a new purpose, with a heart full of warmth and kindness, just as the old woman had blessed her. Word of Annika's new work spread throughout the village and beyond. People came from far and wide, not to commission grand tapestries, but to share their stories with her. They brought her pieces of their lives, of fragments of cloth, old and worn garments, heirlooms that had been passed down through generations. Annika wove these fragments into new tapestries, each one a unique testament to the life it represented. In time, Annika became known not just as a skilled weaver, but as a storyteller, a preserver of memories. Her tapestries adorned not just the homes of the wealthy, but the hearts of those who sought to remember their loved ones, to keep their stories alive. She realized that her true gift was not just in her hands, but in her heart, the ability to listen, to understand, and to give life to the stories that might otherwise be forgotten. As the years passed, Annika's work continued to touch the lives of many. She lived a long and fulfilling life, surrounded by the stories she had woven, by the lives she had touched. And when her time came, she passed peacefully, knowing that she had fulfilled the promise she had made to the old woman on the road, of the promise to live with warmth and kindness, to use her gift for good. Annika's tapestries lived on, passed down through generations, each one a testament to the power of compassion and the importance of preserving the stories that make us who we are. And so, the story of Annika the Weaver teaches us that while we may not be able to change the world, we can make a difference in the lives of others, one story at a time. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.